The march to Cambridge, overlooking Boston, was arduous and painful. The weather turned quickly from gentle autumn to bitter winter, and in the storms, some uncounted number more of their ranks had disappeared, whether fallen unnoticed at the wayside or slipped away in desertion. It was impossible to say. Yet more men fell to disease and misfortune in the camps at night, including some of their German Jaegers who froze to death after being denied shelter by New Englanders who seemed to hold the Germans in special contempt for their role in the war. Even as Arthur's pitiful squad huddled for warmth in a barn, the Jaegers were obliged to huddle in unheated tents or completely out of doors. Arthur didn't quite understand it, but then there was a lot about the New Englanders that confounded him. When the defeated army finally arrived at Cambridge, instead of being offered proper barracks in which they could wait to embark from Boston, they were shown to a wretched and nearly collapsed set of hovels, which someone had told him were left over from Washington's siege of Boston. Despite the vindictive American guards and a persistent lack of supplies, and more importantly, of rations, the Convention Army, as they'd come to call themselves, had put the camp into some semblance of order. They were held under the terms of the convention between Gentleman Johnny Burgoyne and the American General Gates, and that name stuck. Rumors flew about the camp, giving hope to all that they might see home by springtime. Although the Boston port was largely closed by British blockade and the season's tides, they were to march to another port and embark any day. Then the lieutenant had come into camp with news that dashed all hope. Those rascals in their Congress! They've denied the general's request to put out from Rhode Island, insisting that they will honor only the very letter of the convention. His lieutenant's face was red with the exertion of his anger, and Arthur was glad to not be its target. So he sat quietly and let the man rage on until he ran out of invective and excused himself to go and commiserate with the other officers. A few weeks later, the lieutenant came bearing even worse news. Not only will we not be permitted to embark at the more convenient port in Rhode Island, but I should be most surprised if we are permitted to embark at all. Arthur's eyebrows shot up, and he felt his stomach drop. Ironically, the feeling not dissimilar to the sensation of being aboard a ship cresting a great wave. On what basis could these rebel scum justify so completely breaking the convention? He could hear the heat in his voice, but in his heart, he was past caring. As General Burgoyne has already declared the convention broke, and the Congress concluded that there were details of our conduct and surrender that did not conform to their satisfaction, they have claimed that they need not be bound by the terms of the convention. They say now that the terms of our surrender must be ratified by the Parliament as an accord between our government and their Congress.